Little Nemo the Dream Master was developed and published by Capcom in 1990 and is one of my favorite gaming memories as a kid. It's one of the few good games they actually had to rent at the little gas station in the small town where I grew up. On the surface it looks like a pretty straightforward side-scroller, but I feel like it's a situation of a game maybe being better than the sum of its parts. And some people may not know this, but the game was actually based on an animated movie called Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, which was based on a comic strip from American cartoonist Winsor McCay and released in the early 1900s. Huh. Anyway, the opening cutscene tells the story of a young child named Nemo who's sleeping soundly when he gets visited by a hot air balloon in the middle of the night, and some weird pixie offers him candy to come visit Slumberland and be the princess's playmate? Wait, what? Okay, so the story's a little strange, but at least it has cutscenes. It's kinda like Ninja Gaiden, but for little kids. So once you get to Slumberland, you take control of Nemo, and the controls are pretty basic. Walk, jump, duck, but Nemo has an infinite supply of candy that he can throw, and this serves a couple of purposes. First, you can use it to stun most enemies, making it easier to get around them. And you can throw candy at certain animals you find along the way. Throw them 3 pieces of candy to get them hooked on it like drugs or something, then take over their form, which grants you different abilities depending on the animal. The frog can jump higher and swim as well. The mole can dig into the ground, the bee can fly. This is helpful because the baseline Nemo character is actually pretty weak. I mean, after all, he's a little kid. He can't kill enemies by jumping on them like Mario, but if he's in the form of an animal, he might be able to. Unless he's the mole, which can't jump at all. You can press select to switch back to basic Nemo, and you'll be constantly shifting forms throughout any stage, which keeps things fresh and interesting. At the beginning of a stage, you'll run into a random character that gives you a little clue about what lies ahead. The rest of the gameplay consists of exploring each non-linear level, looking for enough keys to unlock all of the locks and open the door at the end to get to the next stage. Along the way, you'll run into a wide variety of enemies such as spiked snails, flying skull things, snakes, weird... I don't even know what these things are. It's all a dream though, so it doesn't have to make any sense. Some areas can be a little annoying, like in Dream 2, an NPC warns you need to get a lizard to go through the next area and to look for him in the trees. So you take control of Donkey Kong, who can punch and climb but definitely can't swim, and you have to climb up the trees to find the lizard. The whole way you're climbing up the trees, these little weird respawning balloon monsters keep attacking you, and you have no way to counter except to try to get out of the way and hope for the best. There's almost no way to do this without taking some damage, and if you die, it starts you over right under the tree, so you actually have to backtrack to find and take control of Donkey Kong again since Nemo can't climb. Also, having to throw 3 pieces of candy at the animals to take control of them can be a little tedious, especially if there are several enemies on the screen at once. Like here, for instance, I'm trying to take control of Donkey Kong, and I can't even throw 1 piece of candy at him, let alone 3. And the arc of the candy when Nemo tosses it makes for some awkward throwing angles, whether you're trying to take control of an animal or stun an enemy. It's not awful or anything, but you just have to get used to it. This would be a good time to mention that there's also a fairly liberal continue feature, but no password system, so you'll have to find a level select code or play this from the beginning each time you want to try to beat the game. Stuff like that is all minor complaints though. This game really is impressive and still fun to play today. The graphics are all well done, and it has all of the level of detail you'd come to hope for from an 8-bit NES title. The backgrounds of each level are also colorful and entertaining to look at, and the Dream storyline gave the creators license to go crazy. From oversized vegetation to water that's the wrong color, to animated backgrounds, to riding a train through a house of toys, the art direction is just cool and no 2 levels are exactly alike. The non-linear level design means you'll have to explore a bit, and having to change forms from one animal to another is definitely a big part of the game. There are certain areas you can only get to with a specific animal's abilities, so it's not something you can ignore, and that keeps you guessing, although typically if there's an animal in a certain area, odds are you need to change to that animal. And then there's the music. It's a Capcom game, so would you expect anything less than greatness here? Junko Tamiya put together a wonderful set list, and she also did the soundtrack for Bionic Commando and Gunsmoke. The fun music combined with the colorful art direction really gives it an offbeat feel like you're exploring some warped dreamscape in the middle of the night. There's also some fun boss fights toward the end, and the final cutscenes make for a satisfying conclusion. All of these simple elements combine to make a unique and entertaining side-scroller on the NES, and the best part is, the game is cheap. You can pick it up loose for $5 to $10, and you could do a whole lot worse for that price. Well, what did you think? Did you play Little Nemo growing up? Have any of you heard of or seen the Little Nemo animated movie? Technically, this game mechanic was used later in the Kirby games. What are some of your other favorite games like this? As always, thank you so much for watching. Please don't text and drive, and I'll see you next time on Friday Night Arcade.